Happy holidays, everybody. I hope you got to celebrate Thanksgiving with friends and family in a safe and happy environment. As you know, winter is officially approaching, and soon we will be celebrating the winter solstice, the day with the shortest amount of sunlight. We humans have been commemorating this event with light since we figured out how to make fire. It's the time of year when the harvest is done, the supplies have been collected and stored, and humans just try to stay warm and hope that next year will be better. I'm sure the cavemen and cavewomen danced around the fire and prayed for the sun god to return each year. Over the centuries, almost every civilization has created some form of winter solstice celebration with a candle lighting ceremony. This is the season of Hanukkah, Advent, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Diwali, New Year's Day, Bodhi Day, Saturnalia, Epiphany, and Omisoka. We Unitarian Universalists have avoided the dogma of other religions, but we can't seem to resist bringing the rituals and traditions with us from other faiths. Those habits are hard to break, but we UUs don't seem to have any problem borrowing them from our own childhood. We Unitarian Universalists are no strangers to candle lighting. We light a candle at the beginning of each Sunday service and other gatherings. The flaming chalice is a symbol of our faith. It lends a sense of the sacred to all events. Unitarians wanted to have an entry in this list of candle lighting festivities over this period of time. So in 2005, we invented Chalica out of a wish to have a holiday organized around UU values. So it's appropriate to create a celebration to honor each of our 7 principles by lighting a candle for 7 days in a row, beginning on the first Monday of December. This year, Chalica begins on Monday, December 7th, and ends on Sunday, December 13th. On each day of Chalica, a candle is lit, and the day is spent reflecting on the meaning of that day's principle and doing a good deed that honors that principle. If you want to celebrate, but you missed the date, you can start any day. I mean, there's always time to live by our principles. Is there a Chalica candle holder like a menorah? Well, no, not really. And you can use the same candle each night or set up 7. It's up to you. I mean, after all, we're Unitarians and our rules are flexible. We read the 7 UU principles earlier, so I know you have them all memorized, right? This is our covenant, and these are indeed noble words. Who would not agree with these values? They've given me a set of ideals to strive to follow. I think they reflect a vision of how things should be or could be. I've noticed a lot of crossover between the principles, and it basically boils down to one truth, the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. So let's review them again, and I will suggest some ways you can honor each one. First principle: the inherent worth and dignity of every person. The children's version says each person is important. Ask yourself, what makes someone important? Is it their abilities, their job, their status, or is it something more? Honor those you do not understand. Write a personal thank you note. Call and check on friends. Tip the waiter extra. Use good manners. Practice random acts of kindness. If you're at Starbucks, pay for the person behind you. Patronize your local businesses. Let a driver merge in front of you in traffic. And listen. During UU General Assembly in June, we spent a lot of time talking about racial equality and Black Lives Matter. One comment kept coming up again and again. The people of color, immigrants, and indigenous people want to be heard. They want to be seen. They want to be acknowledged. So I made a pledge to myself to try to make that happen. So I decided I'm just going to smile at every person that I see. Well, now we have to wear a mask so nobody can see you smile. So I'm determined now to say hello to everyone I meet. So far, I'm doing pretty well, and I usually get a hello in response, and I really like that. It recognizes the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Second principle, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. The children's version is, be kind in all you do. Ask yourself, should you be kind to people who hurt you? What about people who commit really terrible crimes? Honor those in your community that are less fortunate. Donate goods or money to a food pantry. Contribute to a shelter. Try to go the whole day without getting angry. That's hard. Bake something yummy for your neighbor. Help someone in crisis to clean their house or do their shopping. Don't wait to be asked, just do it. Offer your time to a local justice-seeking organization. If you see something, say something. Pay attention. The fellowship supports several organizations. I am closely associated with MAM, the Memorial Assistance Ministries. Our congregation is one of 33 members of their church council. Their mission is to assure that families have the means to meet their basic needs. We can help out by shopping at the resale shop, donating home care products, supporting the Christmas toy drive, or just donating money. What do? They teach English classes. They help people learn how to manage a budget, how to get a job. They offer citizenship classes. They help with legal advice about immigration, help pay utilities and rent, and offer counseling services. They have continued to offer these services online during the pandemic and now offer COVID counseling services. So the next time you're at the grocery store, pick up an extra roll of paper towels or some laundry detergent or cleaning products and take it over to MAM. We should all be very proud to be associated with this organization that's been so highly rated by the Charity Navigator. Our third principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. The children's version says, we are free to learn together. Ask yourself, who do you have a hard time accepting? Honor other UUs and their spiritual journeys. Become a mentor. Participate in fellowship outreach at Turning Point, East Spring Branch Food Pantry, Hatch, and MAM. Deepen your spiritual practices by meditating, journaling, walking, or serving others. Find something good to say about that person that really rubs you the wrong way. Try to put yourself in their place to find their point of view. Be tolerant. Along with the coronavirus, there is another pandemic, racism. Emmanuel Acho, former pro football player, says, racism is not a virus of the body, it's a virus of the mind, and unfortunately, it can be lethal. Acho has created a series of videos to address head-on issues of racism, and he's called them Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. I've watched most of these, and he doesn't mince words. His guests ask the hard questions that I myself would not have the nerve to ask. And he's straightforward with his replies. He says, proximity breeds care, and distance breeds fear. I found them to not only be educational, but they made me question my own attitudes and behaviors. The fourth principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The children's version says, we search for what is true. Ask yourself, what do you know to be absolutely unequivocally true. Honor education. Learn something new about another tradition and share it with someone you think might want to know. Talk with a friend about their beliefs. How are they different from yours? Keep an open mind, because who knows, you might find something that rings true for both of you. Create an elevator speech about Unitarian Universalism. Volunteer to help people learn to read. Look things up from reliable sources. Facebook and Twitter don't count. Check your facts. I remember Sunday in 1999 during a discussion in the foyer about how we UUs are really quick and happy to tell you what we don't believe. A challenge was issued to begin a series of Sunday sermons given by members explaining what we do believe. Someone pointed at me to be one of the first speakers, and I reluctantly agreed to do it. I wrestled with that sermon for 6 months before I gave it. It's not easy for us Unitarians with the I have to have proof for anything before I believe it attitude. I really had to ask myself, what do I believe that doesn't require any proof? I'm really glad I did it. I feel like I got to know myself much better. And then I was asked to repeat that service 12 years later. And I had to write a whole new sermon because I had grown and changed during that time. Over the years, several people have given this talk, and I have enjoyed every single one of them. Take some time to think about, what do you believe? Do some serious soul searching, and I challenge you to give a Sunday sermon on your faith. Just let me know when you're ready. And tune in next week. Harold Root is going to do just that for the 3rd time. 5th principle, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. The children's version says, all people need a voice. Ask yourself, what would you do if you were president? Honor democracy. Get involved in a political party. Register new voters. Work as an election clerk. Participate in a committee at church. Let me say that again. Participate in a committee at church. Get involved with an organization that advocates for an underrepresented population. Stand up for someone in public. Find something in common with a person with different views. Write a letter to an elected official on a matter of importance. Vote. The League of Women Voters of the United States and the League of Women Voters of Houston were both established in 1920, the year that the 19th Amendment to the Constitution gave women the right to vote. They believe in the power of every person to create a more perfect democracy and support the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence for all to participate. The mission of the League of Women Voters in Houston is to foster a thriving democracy by engaging all people in the political process through nonpartisan information sharing, civic engagement, and by providing opportunities to participate in the democratic process. Anyone can join, men and women, and help participate in the voting process. When our fellowship member, Mauricio Gomez, was sworn in as a citizen of the United States, I was really proud to be there to celebrate with him. As soon as the oath was admitted, the League of Women Voters was handing out voter registration cards to each new citizen and collecting them on the spot. Happy Centennial. Here's to the next 100 years. The 6th principle. The goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. The children's version says, build a fair and peaceful world. Ask yourself, if you had a magic wand, what would you do to make this world a peaceful place? Honor our global community. Write a letter for a global cause. donate to an organization like Equal Justice Initiative or the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. Donate to a charity in a time of crisis. Participate in a local public display for justice. Question authority. Our family was stationed in Lake Charles, Louisiana in 1958. And when my dad retired from the Air Force, my parents just stayed there. So I think of Lake Charles as my home base. When Hurricane Laura hit Lake Charles on August 29th, it devastated the city. Buildings that are so familiar to me were damaged. Water was stopped and electrical lines were down everywhere. I really wanted to help somehow. So I looked up the World Central Kitchen because I knew they would be there feeding people, and they were. World Central Kitchen is a not-for-profit, non-governmental organization devoted to providing meals in the wake of natural disasters. It was founded in 2010 by celebrity chef Jose Andres. He's a force of nature all by himself. The organization prepared food in Haiti following its devastating earthquake. Its method of operations is to be the first responder and then to collaborate and galvanize solutions with local chefs to solve the problem of hunger immediately following a disaster. Recently, the WCK provided 500,000 hot meals to people all across the USA who were standing in long lines to vote. They show up in areas hit by hurricanes and fires, at the Navajo Nation. They were there in Beirut after the explosion, and recently in the Honduras and Guatemala after Hurricane Iota. They always show up immediately with a free hot meal whenever people need to be fed, and I'm very happy to support them. The seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Children's version says, we take care of the earth. Ask yourself, what can you do right now to care for our earth and honor our natural world? Start a compost pile. Eat ethically. Plant some trees. Stop using straws and other single-use plastics. That's harder to do in the pandemic, I've discovered. Remember to take your reusable grocery bags to the store. Patronize eco-friendly businesses. Turn the water off when you're brushing your teeth. It's a small thing, but it adds up. Eat more meatless meals. Support fair trade products and businesses. Reduce, recycle, reuse. Like most Unitarians, I like a good cup of coffee. I have a Keurig coffee maker at my house, which I use every day. But the pods are plastic and they're filling up the landfills at an alarming rate. This has bothered me for a long time, but I really love my Keurig. Just a few weeks ago, I decided to try to make the world a better place by buying biodegradable K-Cups. I ordered a sample box from Taste Coffee, that's T-A-Y-S-T Coffee, to see what flavor I would like to keep around. Their pods are 100% compostable, and they support the Rainforest Alliance, which works with the coffee growing communities to improve their health and well-being. I'm working my way through the different flavors, and so far I'm enjoying the coffee. I'll let you know how that goes. So these are our principles. Did these principles influence you to become a Unitarian Universalist? Do you find them easy to follow or sometimes difficult? Do they come naturally to you, or do you have to really work hard at following them? There are principles, our guidelines to living a meaningful life. We conducted a workshop to define the personality of the fellowship several years ago, and we came up with the following. We are compassionate, welcoming, and lively. Do you think that describes us accurately? Maybe we need to revisit that conversation. When we've surveyed our membership asking why they come to the fellowship, the usual response is for the company, for the music, and for the food. There's a lot of truth in that. Some of my favorite fellowship moments have been around the dining table. I sometimes describe us as quirky, skeptical, and cynical. But I believe our congregation does try to make a positive difference in our community, in our congregation, and in our own lives, applying our 7 principles to all we do. Deep down, we want to belong somewhere with like-minded people, and we're looking for deep purpose in our lives. I always tell people that everyone is on a spiritual journey of their own. We want to understand the mysteries of the universe, and we wait for those awe-inspiring moments which come too infrequently. I think our principles help define us. They give us a moral compass and guide us on that journey. Take some time to celebrate the Unitarian Universalist values and try to live a principled life. In the meantime, please remember the 3 W's. Wear a mask, wash your hands, walk away from large groups. Happy Chalica, everybody.